Hey Patrick, morning.
And hello, innocent autopilots, our most most dedicated member of the community.
Yeah, most loyal participant. Never misses a meeting.
That's right. All right, let's get started. I'm not sure if we might be having Nayan, so if she connects, that's great. If not, that's fine too. Mira's not joining today, and neither is George, so starting just two of us. I'll follow the Hyperledger guideline nevertheless, and just mention that antitrust policy, Hyperledger is in effect. And we can just get into our agenda. And I guess it can be just pretty much free discussion since it's just two of us, but I'll just run through it kind of quickly um, for the listeners. So in terms of mentorship updates, we have a nicely progressing Mediator project where we have merged some PRs, and at this point, Exum test server. It's a very innocent repo name, Exum test server. Actually, it's Aries Mediator. So we are getting to phase where Nan is now implementing the connection protocol, while we already have all of the pickup messages, pickup, storage, and key registration. So we just need to put a DIDCOM tunnel on top of that, and technically it should be a working mediator. Um, on the next site, so right next to it we have the FFI project. The one also just got some PR open this morning. I think it's the old one was closed for some reason, a new one was open. Nevertheless, it seems like things are moving a bit. So uh, I know that the guys want to get this merged rather sooner than later. Um, so the next perhaps on the next call, once things are merged and ready, we could maybe have make some sort of demo of that wrapper. For the overviews, so we had a 0.58 release with a number of PRs merged in, and there's a changelog on the release, so it's pretty clear what has been done there. Most significantly, we have removed libvcx components. Yeah, so that's a component which has been deprecated for a long period of time. Hi, Nan. I see that you just joined the meeting. Well, it might be I can't hear something, so either you decide to keep it quiet or you have some technical issues. And I think it might be the latter one because I see you're unmuted, but I couldn't hear something if you said something. So okay, I'll just proceed with what I was up to. So we removed the libvcx components, the iOS and Java wrapper, and obviously as the kind of our long-term recommendation being the replacement for it should be if anyone wishes to build native apps, they should just use AresVCX as a core building block and build on top of that. And the FFI project, the UniFFI project we have ongoing within the Hyperledger. That's one example, or kind of definitely good starting point. It could be a good starting point. I'm sure there's many approaches that can be taken, but that's one of them. Hi, Nan. I can hear you now, by the way.
Yes, I can hear you also. There was some problem, but yes, it's fine now.
Okay. So since you came here, I'll get back to like the mentorship, but I'll first finish what I was going through. So we had the release, we removed libvcx components, and we kind of cleaned up decluttered state machines. So especially holder, verifier, approver, and what did I miss? Prover, verifier, holder, issuer. Those were a bit old approach, and it's been stuck in the code base for a long time. So this kind of puts it on the same level as connection protocol, basically. So that's kind of first level of unification, and then there's a next steps following that. So that is follow up directly by another PR to actually remove enforcing message sending from the state machines. For starter, this PR, and there's a PR for it. This PR is doing so for issuer only, so it's a pending work to do to apply the exactly same kind of approach on the verifier and prover. And then once that is done and we have kind of removed IO from our state machines, we can actually significantly improve our testing. So we can stop having to deal with connections and mediator agency in credential and presentation tests completely, and just exchange these messages in a memory essentially. So it's going to be a lot faster, a lot simpler. But yeah, that's something to be done yet. We have a number of stuff in review. We have a data exchange from Miro. I was reviewing that before. That has been, I believe, largely addressed by Miro. So I invite everyone else to also have a look and comment. Also, great news from Miro is that there's he created pull request for Ares Agent Test Harness to add AresVCX backchannel implementation and start running data exchange with peer-did support in a a periodic CI. So we'll now be getting these regular results. I believe for Star, it only is basically Aries VCX testing against Aries VCX from both roles, as I believe that the back channel with like did exchange with period support is yet missing for Akapa and AFJ. So we'll just wait them for them to finish their implementations and see what kind of results we'll be getting with them. But from what I can tell, it should be like pretty good, because while the Akapai stuff is for did exchange, did peer is not yet here. Mira was already testing that locally, so anyone contributing to Akapa and kind of driving some progress and finding some bugs in that area. So that's really looking good. Then there's just as basically more of a reminder. There's these two ancient PRs we should get merged. I think one is replacing OpenSSL with some smaller dependencies, and the other one is just updating CI host images to Ubuntu 22. Well, that's what's in review, and then we have a number of stuff in progress too. So as I mentioned already, there's a PR to remove the IO for issuer or holder. That'll be followed with the same kind of thing for the approver verifier. And both of these things will be followed by refactor and tests, removing all of the IO there. Then next up, there's a kind of a draft so far for demo. It was originally initiated by George to have a place to show newcomers, to kind of do a basic demonstration of the API, point the newcomer somewhere. And I think this can be, by the way, particularly useful for Nyan. So this kind of demonstrates the whole connection flow. For the connection, there's some tweaks yet to be done. George was mentioning kind of right now the mediator between the two parties kind of shared. So there are certain assumptions in the code, like who is supposed to receive a message at a given time, and that's something that can be improved and maybe get rid of kind of quad assumptions in the code, make the addressing a bit more explicit. And secondly, I was wondering that perhaps this should be split in two files at least, because now it's just a one file, one big workflow, swapping between Alice and Faber. So it might be cleaner to be able to look at a single role, like, okay, what is Alice doing? Okay, what is Faber doing? Separately, not having them mixed up. Yeah, so that needs some final touches there, and we'll be ready for review. And then I saw that Bogdan, you just opened a PR this morning, I believe, with Ledger trade refactoring. So actually, I had a question about this. I guess it relates to like maybe credits, unknown credits, and like all the type duplication across the crates, but see that you've added the kind of
The ledger types trait.
yeah, these types. So I wonder why is that? Since now we only have one implementation for the ledger.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure whether is that I actually wanted to ask about that. So thanks for bringing it up, but mainly I wanted to know whether we are gonna keep this as the only implementation, at least for the upcoming future. Basically added that, like I said, I know in the event that we're gonna have additional implementations, and I guess it also boils down to the fact that if there is I don't know, it kind of allows people to come up with their own implementation with like, containing different types as well. I don't know if that would necessarily be something we need, but I was basically just kind of sticking to the original plan. But it's definitely not, I don't know, not something that's vital, I would
Right.
say, at
Yeah,
PR.
in my opinion, I mean, like right now, there's
We could perhaps keep it simple.
the only ledger implementation like
Hmm.
widely available in the ecosystem is in the VDR if we don't
Right.
count VDR tools, which we just got rid of. So
Right.
I don't see like anytime soon that there will be alternative implementation. But at the
Okay.
same time, I don't know, not strongly against it, but at the same time, I don't see the need either.
Fair enough. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'll swap it out then. And another kind of aspect of the PR, which I want to do at the same time because it would be hard to do it otherwise, or just annoying to do it otherwise. It's kind of getting rid of some of the arcs.
Uh-huh.
Maybe relying more on generics rather than um, yeah, trade objects. And yeah, so I've spent quite some time thinking how to go about this. Um, And there's also kind of an aspect of why the trait for the types was there, so it allowed for more flexibility. But like I said, it wasn't. I don't have a strong opinion on that, so I'll remove that for now.
I
But
guess so. The arc removal, I see you kind of did it for the profiles. Just fine. Maybe just keep in mind that like profiles is actually like a very unimportant code because it's just for testing right now, and we might even get rid of that, I think, in the future. But
mhm.
the maybe the arcs could be removed for. I mean, the arcs are all over the place in the code base, so there's definitely space for changing that into generics, and I think that makes sense because we know pretty well at compile time what kind of thing we're gonna plug in. So there's not really need for the like runtime flexibility.
Yeah, most agents are just gonna run on like one implementation
Yeah.
of the types of the traits. So there's really not that much of a benefit of having the trait objects around. And even if you wanted trait objects, the arcs aren't really doing anything. Like you'll see a lot of instances where you take a reference to an arc and
Mhm.
it contains a trait object, which is simply, why would you simply not take a reference instead? Like a direct reference. It's a
Right.
smaller pointer.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, nevertheless, I'm kind of trying to get those removed, and it's not really straightforward, but it's work in progress. And I figured it would be a good opportunity to kind of do it at the same time since I'm walking through all this ledger code.
Hmm.
And yeah,
Right. I see. All right. All right. But I guess there's still gonna be arcs. Like I don't think we can get by without them, right? I think in general, or
why
is it?
not?
Oh, let me think. Yeah, usually it's well, I guess on the topper level of the code, you might end up with arcs, but maybe not in Aries VCX. Indeed, yeah, that might be superfluous.
I mean, you could have it for the profile, because you want to swap these profiles, depending on feature flags, so you can test whatever uh, combinations of the traits. But it doesn't matter if the things that are wrapped in the profile are, um, you know, trait objects or not, as much as it matters that the profile itself is a trait object because you want to swap them out. But even then, I don't know if you necessarily need that. Um, since it's not like you work with multiple profiles at the same time, I think.
Yeah,
Maybe only
I
for
mean the
migration.
profiles really doesn't matter much.
I know, I know.
Yeah, just I'm more thinking of those like when you're passing a wallet, like base wallet somewhere, is it gonna be does it need to be an arc? I guess not. I guess not.
No,
If
it
there
doesn't
is
have to be a trade
BCX.
object. Even if you have multiple implementations, monomorphization takes care of.
No, I know it doesn't have to be trade object. I'm just thinking if it needs to be.
I don't think it needs to be shared either. That was what I was saying, that in all of these places you're pretty much just passing references to these objects, and because they are marked to be like the interfaces are designed to be both send and sync, you should be able to just send a reference like that. And there's really no point in having stuff like the code. A lot of these things are pretty much meant to run sequentially, so it's not like you would be spawning tasks, in the middle of a protocol doing different things based on the wallet or anything like that. I honestly don't think so.
Right. Well, I think ultimately the arcs will be on like the top levels of the code, like in libvcx. I don't think you can get by without it, because typically you have a wallet and you're running a pool of threads, and you're sharing the wallet with all the threads. So I think there's just not really a way around it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I spent a lot of time thinking about it, and I couldn't really figure out all the details. So I'm basically just working it out slowly.
Okay, we'll see. One more question for you is about if you managed to have a look at the Credix missing feature with the pull requests.
Yeah, I didn't have that close of a look. So like I said, I don't know exactly the urgency of that, but if it's urgent, I can focus on that first.
Yeah, I would prioritize it, I guess, because
Okay.
that one has the actually huge value if we can that can enable us to migrate to the Credix and get rid of the next 40,000 lines of code.
Okay, sure.
All right, I'll just put like
Yeah, on a high level, it doesn't seem like it's gonna be hard to deal with. But
yeah, I think
yeah.
it won't be a huge deal. I mean, probably just some missing handling for the parameter and some processing, something like that. Okay, well, that kind of bring us to the end. Before I ask for any more wider discussion, I want to just get back to Nan. And would you like to give a short update on the project? I did one short for you, but maybe it'll be better from your voice, and you put the effort to come here. So
Yeah, sure. I can give a small update. Um, can I share my screen?
oh, certainly, yeah. I'll stop sharing.
Okay. So, is my screen visible? I hope it is. Yes. So this is the update for the Aries VCX Mediator project. So last couple of weeks, what we have done is this. Uh, I've been starting to work on an Aries agent. So this past week, I've been able to initialize an Aries agent and create a wallet basically using Aries VCX. Another thing that we have completed is the mediator. So like I just made a PR and had it reviewed by Patrick. The mediator is in a good state now. It's workable and it's demoable. Like you can actually pass HTTP request to the mediator endpoint and get valid pick a protocol request responses, or valid forward message responses, or valid mediator coordination protocol responses. So three different protocols have now been implemented in the mediator code. So that's where we are at. in the completed parts of this project. The third part is like now what's happening is we're creating an Aries agent. So yes, it's going a bit slowly now because like we are new territory now, like moving from the mediator protocols to actual Aries DITCOM. So this is where we are at on the Aries agent part, out of band messages. So the first thing that two Aries agents are going to do while trying to talk to each other is one of them is going to send an invite and the other is going to accept that invite and send a connection request. So the first part, that's creating the invite, that is what I've completed this week. So I've completed creation of an out of band invite and being able to print it on screen. So on the agent front, we are right now on really alpha stage. So we are just getting started, but we have gotten here. The next part is going to be to accept that invite. So the client side part of the code, which is going to be accept the invite and send a connection request to the mediator. So this is going to be done soon. This part, that is accept the invite and send, that's going to be done soon. And of course, the part after that is going to be the mediator is going to see that, okay, I have connection request. Why don't I save the very key of that connection request after doing the exchange, of course, the hello exchange. After that, it'll save the authentication very key as the auth pub key so that the agent can then later make mediator requests. Okay, so why are we doing all of this in the first place? The goal right now is to create an agent using Aries VCX. Why are we doing this? So as I said, that I've just finished uh, a sort of MVP mediator which speaks three protocols. Now, what this agent is going to do is it's going to talk Aries, that's the DITCOM protocol, and it's going to help the mediator talk with different Aries peers. So right now the mediator is only talking HTTP and simple JSON. There's no authentication layer, there's no encryption. What Aries agent is going to do, it's going to act like a proxy in between the mediator and the other peers, and it's going to talk the Aries DIDCOM protocols. And it's going to handle the encryption, the authentication, and all of that. And then when it sees that, okay, this agent, this client agent is trying to talk some mediation related stuff, is going to pass on those particular messages back to the mediator. So yeah, that is why we are creating this new Aries agent from scratch. And another goal for this new Aries agent is to act like a CLI demo. Right now, Aries VCX is in a good state, it's working and everything. So, but there seems to be not a example demo that people can actually directly use. So a sub goal, an optional goal of this agent is going to be making an executable that people can actually run and try out different Aries messages. Yes, so this is where we are right now. Yeah, thank you.
It's very nice presentation. I see that you prepared for your report. It was great. Yeah, so I think we are pretty like well on track with actually with the project plan, and we might even have some extra. I feel like we might even have some extra time toward the end of the project for some like extra improvements. Maybe we'll manage to even those WebSockets and stuff like that. Like think about more about scalability and especially in regard with those notifications about new incoming messages. Yeah, so that's great. And
I have a couple of things to add. If
just one thing before that, I just wanted to actually ask you. I
yes.
was looking at it in I guess number of places. Did you have a look at the demo I've created?
The PR that you sent,
Yeah, that's right. There's this where is it? There is this in the review. I can't find it right now. There is this example. Yeah, this PR over here. So I think this can be very
I
helpful for your
share the
next
screen.
steps.
My screen was being shared, so I think you
Oh
might have to
yeah,
share.
I'm not sharing screen. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, this one. I was linking it somewhere, I suppose. Did you have a chance to see this?
No, this is the first time I'm seeing this actually. I
Okay.
saw the other PR on which you mentioned me, not this one.
Okay. So, today, tomorrow, have a look at it. I think it can be very helpful. It's essentially one file demo which is establishing connection between the two parties, and
Mm-hmm.
they use this very simple mediator relay, like primitive mediator essentially between them. So there is networking. They are sending messages each other on their HTTP and on their DITCOM endpoints, and then they are fetching the messages, and whatever the messages, whenever the message is received, there's like the decryption part, and then they use the connection state machine to process um, it and respond. So yeah, have a look at it, and I think you might get some uh, inspiration out of it.
Yes, of course. I mean, that looks like a really nice starting point to look at how I might be able to implement the agent part. Yes, thank you. I'll take a look definitely at this.
You had some questions of your own.
Yes, I had more like thoughts and requests. So right now, the mediator is in I believe, a good MVP stage. That is, it's doing what it's supposed to. You can talk to it using those three protocols, and it's going to respond appropriately, and it's going to also do the functionality that's saving the forward messages, let's say, in a database, and then giving them back when someone who is supposed to receive them asks for them. So
Right.
it's in a good stage right now. So can we have some sort of uh, HTTP endpoint where people can actually try it out live? Like right
Okay.
now, I was doing it on localhost on my PC, but if we can have
Right.
it on the internet, then I think it'd be nice
Um,
for live testing and just as a demo kind of
right.
thing.
Well, let's see. I guess like a simple you could do a simple deployment of your own. I can guide you. I know there's a free tier servers on AWS or something like DigitalOcean. I'm not sure they have free tier, but definitely there's some free tier on AWS, so you can actually spin up a server for free.
Mhm.
You get a public IP. Obviously, if you want to do, and then you could just deploy a Docker container. I guess
Right.
two of them. As a question is if it's gonna be able to run. I mean, it's really I guess minimal server. Not
Yes.
100% sure if it's gonna be enough for like two Docker containers, MySQL and this, but given I guess especially in terms of like the memory, that can be the only constraint. I mean, there won't be any heavy CPU processing,
Right.
but you can try it, and it can be a good experience for you too with the cloud. Did you ever have any cloud experience?
Yes, I have hosted multiple services on AWS Cloud, so I'm quite familiar with using Docker and even bare metal hosting. Well,
Oh,
bare
okay.
metal in the sense VPS hosting. So
Mm.
yeah, I mean, I have experience with that. I've hosted some free and fast services online.
All right. So I guess it shouldn't be a problem. If you need any help, I'll be happy to guide you.
Right.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
don't. I'll just do that. But then
Mhm.
alternative to that,
Like, does
actually, you
Hyperscaler
know
have
what?
some?
Well, I mean, that would be kind of wouldn't be great, I guess, because you'll end up only with IP address and it's gonna be HTTP unless you also deploy Nginx and certificates, and then it's like a lot more work suddenly to set that up all. Um,
Right.
but I could deploy, I guess, if you give us a Docker container, I could, and maybe Docker Compose. If you can give me a, produce in your repo, um,
Hmm.
firstly the Docker images that are needed, and Docker Compose to spin it all up. So MySQL plus the mediator. Then I could host it for you actually on like HTTPS domain under the indiscan.io.
Right. Great. I will get on to that. Like, as I make progress on the agent part, I will also like parallelly try to create the images and a compose. It should be fairly easy, I think, because I'm
Yeah.
already running them as like the database paths. I'm running them using Docker. So
Mhm.
yeah, I'll just have to package the binary basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, great. I'll do that. Thank you.
Mhm. Do you have any other questions or?
Yes, the second one was just a thought that since the mediator is in like kind of workable state, uh, Swapnil's project, which is going to create the client part basically on
Hmm.
Android,
Hmm.
like if they want to use this mediator as a kind of testing place to kind of try the client side interactions, then they can do that. Of course, it's not going to be over Aries right now. Aries
Mhm.
is still in progress. But if they want to try just talking to some endpoints over simple HTTP, no encryption, then
Mhm.
that's kind of available right now.
Hmm. Okay, I'll make sure that it's communicated and propagated to George and Swapnil mainly. I think, frankly, I think they are still like busy with other stuff, and I think they want to keep things simple, so they are starting with a simple message relay, basically the same thing like the demo, Aries V6 demo I was showing you is based on the same thing, same simple
Mhm.
mediator. Uh, but and I think like they're actually busy with the project, the FFI project is a bit behind the schedule. So there might actually be for you a space to perhaps contribute, the client for your mediator, and then I don't know, perhaps even the integration. If they do the simple the simple relay, maybe you could kind of help them out and upgrade it to your mediator if you would like to. But I guess after we should coordinate with George and Swapnil first of all.
Yes, 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 of course. Right.
Yeah.
So they might be doing the app part, and then they could probably use the binary agent that like I'll be writing. Like I'll be writing a sort of client anyway to
Hmm.
test the uh, server.
Right.
So like the same client could probably use using Unify on the Android side. So yeah,
Hmm.
that kind of serve as a dual purpose.
Yeah,
It won't
and
be
I
a
think and also it would be great if you deploy it. Well, if we deploy it together, the shared effort, then they could just use it there. They wouldn't have to deal with like deploying, right? They could just test against an existing deployment of
right.
yours.
Yes. Yeah. So I guess by the end of the month we'll see how that goes. Yeah.
You know what? I have an idea how we can do this actually. In terms of deployment, you can deploy it on a server. You give me IP and port, that kind of incomplete deployment without HTTPS, and then I can provide you a load balancer with domain and just point it, to your IP.
Uh,
So then we could have a domain, and at the same time you would have full control over the deployments. You could redeploy, you could really take care of the service itself. I would be just kind of a whole, a domain name and SSL provider for you.
Right. Yeah, that's also interesting. So, just a question: does Linux Foundation or Hyperledger Foundation provide some sort of free VPS sort of situation for testing stuff? Like
Unfortunately,
rather
I'm
than
not aware of it.
commercial, I meant rather than using AWS or DigitalOcean, like if Hyperledger has some sort of thing to host projects, then like that could be used directly.
I'm not aware of it, but I'll check.
All right. Yes. Yeah. In the meanwhile, I'll create the Docker stuff, the packaging in Docker Compose. Yeah.
All right. Okie dokie. Yeah, I guess that's we exhausted. Or do you have any more points you would like to go through?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. So just to, I guess then to conclude our this community call, any other discussion, maybe from anything from you, Bogdan?
No, nothing from my side.
All right. So yeah, we have I added this new section here. I mean, it was here before, then it was gone, and we had a backlog before. It kind of evaporated over time as things got completed. Created to-dos again, so we should do the names per request, and we should also do this one, the two items we've been talking about last week. Just a question of when is the right time, because there's lots of kind of turbulence right now in a repo, lots of refactoring here and there. I don't know, maybe we can do it kind of per component, which we know, per components where the component we know is gonna be kind of quiet, so we can afford to make a kind of wide, a crate wide deltas there. But yeah, it's lots of warnings at the compile time, so it's kind of doesn't look great. And also those directories, we should kind of at least for starter merge them, so we don't have 20 directories in the root, but I don't know, 6, 5. Okay, that's that. I'm saving this wiki page and stop sharing. Thank you for joining and have a good week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Cheers.